You know, life as an unmedicated neurodivergent can be really tough. It's always stuff like, don't pee in the sink, why are you sleeping in the fridge, and why aren't you wearing pants when you are at work? Luckily, however, I found the perfect outlet for all of that disjointed energy, and that is teaching mobility. And in this case, we'll be working on the pancake fold, which is not only one of the most amazing mobility exercises because it gives you a concise goal, but even more so because it targets pretty much all the problem zones that people suffer from as they age and as they get older, specifically the knees, even more so the hips and the lower back. And the younger you are when you achieve this position, the more likely you will be able to avoid all of these problems. So what we're gonna do today is find out how you can achieve the pancake fold without getting injured in the safest and quickest way possible and with as simple an exercise routine as can be. So if you're ready, let's go and have some fun. Now, I want to start out with a little trick, a little hack, if you will, that's gonna make this a lot easier on you. We're gonna stand for the first exercise with our feet parallel, our legs completely extended, and we wanna just bend in our hip. And now comes the very important part. Before we even move just an inch, we want to first go into spinal extension, flexing our spinal erectors, and only then, with an extended back, can we start hinging forward in our hip. Now, this is going to teach you from the very beginning to stay straight in your back, which is going to increase all of the stretch in our posterior chain. Now, we're already having the tiniest bit of stretching in our adductors, which is going to be very important later, but for now we want to focus on keeping that back extended and bending forward in our hip, only as far as you can go without having any pain. And that is the second important thing. Discomfort is not only very likely when you're working on this, but is actually necessary. What is not necessary is having pain. So if you are truly having pain, then you are going too far and you need to step back just a little bit. This simple hip hinge with extension in our spinal erectors will open up our entire posterior chain in our lower body, starting at our glutes, moving all the way through our biceps, our gastroc, our soleus, all the way down to our Achilles tendon. And this is a bonus for either when you are more advanced, or if you are already a little bit more advanced, you're going to place your hands on the ground, and now you want to switch spinal position from here, moving into spinal extension and back into spinal flexion in a dynamic manner. When breathing into spinal extension and when breathing out into spinal flexion. Keep those legs completely straight. Keep your hands on the ground. We're only moving our pelvic position. Pelvic tilt in one direction, pelvic tilt in the other direction, and combining those hip hinges with hip hinges in this position will already take care on about 50% of the necessary flexibility we're going to require for the pancake fold. Now, this moves us to our second exercise, which is the Jefferson curl. And even if you're not working on your mobility, just doing this exercise is amazing for back safety, hip safety, and posterior chain flexibility. Start in a completely extended position with our legs slightly open, shoulder width at the maximum. And we're just going to start relaxing into this posterior chain stretch and letting the weight do all the work for us. Now comes the really important part. The more you can relax in this position, the more benefit you're gonna get from it. So take a deep breath when you're at the lowest point, and then when breathing out, start relaxing the tiniest bit more into this sort of stretch. And now we have an entire posterior chain stretch, including our spinal erectors, which we didn't stretch before, and even our shoulders get a nice decompression, which is an amazing bonus to have when we're working just on our pancake fold. Let it hang loose for half a minute, and then you can either lower into a deep squat, release, and then extend again. Or if you want to have the full benefit of a Jefferson curl, you're going to start elevating vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly, carefully, until you are fully extended once more. Now, the second most important thing is you do not want to compromise the safety of your back, which means that you should start out with as low a weight as possible, where you are barely getting any sort of stretch, and then over time, You can start increasing that weight once you are very safe, not only in that position, but in the entire movement pattern. Either the one where you fully stand up or the one where you lower into a deep squat before you start raising your hips once more. If you've been on this channel before, you definitely know what comes next. There is no possibility to talk about lower body mobility without working on the Cossack squat. And for good reason. We are working on exactly the same muscles we need to be flexible in when it comes to the pancake stretch, with the addition of a total leg strength bonus. We have a very quad dominant exercise, and we have a lot of adductor inclusion as well as posterior chain inclusion once we start adding a little bit of variation to this exercise. The variations you need will, for one, be the classic Cossack, keeping both of your feet parallel, and that is the most important part. Keeping your feet parallel is what targets your adductors, and once you start moving into external rotation in your hip joint, this stretch will move from your adductors all the way back to your biceps and your posterior chain. So we want to keep those parallel so we can actively work on this part all the way up and all the way down. And with your feet parallel, we also want to move laterally as low to the ground as possible with our hips. Left side, right side. Push your hips down. Keep your feet parallel, lengthen your adductors, and you're using them to pull yourself from one side to the other. If you want a bonus to open up even more, use those elbows, push your knees out, keep your feet parallel, left side, right side, etc. Now our second Cossack variation is going to add some lumbar spinal rotation, which is going to be very important later because it's going to release a lot of tension in our lower back, which is going to help us fold forward a little bit easier. Once we are at the lowest point, now we're going to go into external rotation in our hip, and we're going to cross over left hand to the right foot, reverse, and right hand to the left foot. And once again, for those of you who are a little bit more advanced when it comes to their mobility, instead of turning from here, we're gonna bring that knee down all the way, sit our butt down all the way, and now turn here, which is gonna add even more posterior chain stretch in the extended leg. And if you are even more flexible, why not fold forward from here, pull down all the way before you reverse in a controlled manner, all the way up, all the way down on the other side, and fold forward once more. If you can add these two Cossack variations, you're gonna be taking care of most of the pancake flexibility you need, but also a lot of strength and a lot of endurance in your leg musculature, which once again, another amazing bonus to have when we're just working on a stretching or mobility position. Now, just for your sake, I'm gonna add something a little bit more relaxing, something that doesn't require any sort of strength. We're gonna have our legs a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. In fact, the wider you can open up in this position, the better it's gonna be for you. We're gonna lower down on our elbows, and all we wanna do from here is push forward, opening up our hips, and push backwards, doing the same. And taking it through this somewhat rotational movement pattern, because this is going to relax our hip musculature the tiniest bit. And a second very relaxing exercise is the butterfly stretch. Feet together, and you can either move dynamically, just like so, or you can sit with your back to a wall, grab yourself some weights, and have them push you deeper into that stretch in your hips. Just be careful, start with low weight, especially if that's the first time you're doing it, and over time build up to using more and more. Now you've made it to the last exercise combination, and this is basically putting everything together that we've learned today. We're going to combine a lateral movement, taking our spine through lateral flexion, moving sideways. If your range of motion ends here, it's absolutely perfect, don't worry about it. If you can go lower all the way to your foot, that is even better. Once again, move laterally to the left, move laterally to the right. A handful of repetitions and fold forward just for a handful of seconds. Using reciprocal inhibition actively is going to drastically change how fast you're progressing with the pancake fold. That means by flexing your quads, you're automatically signaling to your brain to release any tension you have in your hamstrings. And being able to do this actively is going to make your stretching and flexibility work so much easier. So instead of using your hands to pull yourself down, you're just gonna place them here and start flexing your quads to pull your body down, flexing your abdominals to pull you down even lower, and using your own strength. See, you can release here and you're still pretty close down to the ground, and you only want to use your hands for the last couple of centimeters. Sit fully upright and hinge by flexing here. If you can start learning how to use reciprocal inhibition, it will be an amazing bonus for any sort of flexibility training you do. All of these will benefit from you learning this technique. And that's pretty much all you need to be able to pancake fold over time. Now, the more often you can go through this routine, of course, the faster you will progress. 3 to 4 times a week for 20 to 30 minutes should be more than enough to see substantial improvement. Just be sure to always work with full concentration and always be careful not to hurt yourself. If you've made it to the end of the video, you're an absolute legend. I am so grateful that you are here. If you like the video and subscribe and join us. We do stuff like that pretty much every single day. We work on calisthenics, we work on flexibility, we work on strength endurance, we even do strength training, if you can believe it. So check some of the videos out, have some fun, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So until then, Captain Cairo, peace out.